Right, the MOSBAR spectrum. So we want to study the syllabus. We want to say the introduction and principle. But I don't want to teach you again the principle. But I want to teach you the some part of the principle. That means fill in the blanks. If you are interested, you want to go and refer the books, then you want to fill the gaps, whatever you need. Then interpretation of isomer shift and quadrupole interaction. Then MOSBAR spectrum of transition metal ion complex. Here we are mainly focusing only for transition metal ion complex. Then we want to say uses of MOSBAR spectroscopy in chemistry. Okay, then we know the reference books. I already give it to you. There's the Aruldas and Jasso and Russell Drago. The first book you can download from the online. Is anyone get that book? Lumbini, did you download that book? The first one?
No, sir.
Did you try or you didn't try?
No, sir, I didn't try.
Oh, okay, good. You didn't try. Very good. Anyone else? Did you try anything else? Right. Anyway, that's up to you. Right. In the MOSBAR spectroscopy, also known as nuclear gamma resonance spectroscopy. Up now, earlier we want to talk about the microwave frequency, those kind of thing. Now we want to say nuclear gamma resonance spectroscopy. Okay, so you know that the gamma ray is a very powerful rather than the microwave or anything else. So this spectrum will give the powerful interpretation rather than other one. So MOSBAR spectrum, after that I want to denote as a MB. The MOSBAR spectrum deals with the nuclear resonant absorption and fluorescence. Did you remember the fluorescence, phosphorescence in your level 2G, which result from the absorption of gamma rays by the sample? Okay, here we need the sample and also the reference material. That one we call as a source and sample. So source want to produce the gamma ray. That gamma ray won't absorb by the sample, then only we can get the spectrum. Earlier we don't worry about the source, just only we need the sample. Now we need the source as well. So MOSBAR spectroscopy is study of gamma ray absorption or emission spectra for the transition between the two different nuclear states. So here we want to talk about the different nuclear states. Gamma ray absorption is depend upon the electron density of the nucleus. So the electron density is, if it is going high, what will happen? If it is less electron density, then what will happen? We want to study later. So we want to say the gamma ray absorption also depend on the electron density. Similarly, your ESR spectrum also depend on the electron density. That's why we want to say case 1, case 2, case 3. We want to study if it is a 1 unpaired electron, what will happen? If it is they have a more than 1 unpaired electron, what will happen? The number of peaks obtained is related to the summary of symmetry of the components. So number of peaks, how many peaks we want to observe, that is related to the symmetry of the compounds. Earlier we want to say in the ESRI spectrum, number of peaks related to the how many symmetric atoms are there, then only they want to say number of peaks. Now we want to say there is a symmetry of the compound. So this one we want to say is little bit difficult compared to the ESR or other spectrum. Because the only suitable source is the gamma radiation. I already mentioned the gamma radiation is a very powerful energy source. Is the excited nuclei of the same isotope in the course of radioactive decay. So I already mentioned we need the source and sample. So if you select the source, if they have a different energy level or different compound, then they want to release different energy. Right? I will draw the diagram and show it to you. Okay, this one. This one we want to say source, right? Then I want to say other one is a sample. So this is the excited state. This one I want to say as a ground state. So when they want to emit the energy from excited to ground state, they want to release some gamma rays. Okay, we want to assume if they want to release gamma rays, then if they have an exactly similar ground and excited energy level, then only they want to absorb, and this particular ground state, okay, may go to the excited state. If their energy gap is huge, okay, if the energy gap is huge, then they cannot go in the middle level because there is no energy states. So this energy level is not enough. That's why we want to say the only suitable source of gamma radiation is the excited nuclei of the same isotope. If you are using one molecule, then you want to use the same isotope molecule or isotope compounds in the case of the source. Then only you can get the radioactive decay. No way of tuning. Here we can't tune or anything else because I want to say, okay, if they have a huge gap between the excited and ground state, okay, we can't tune the gamma energy. Am I right? Because the gamma energy came from source material. So we can't tune that one to the maximum or minimum or anything else. If they want to exactly fit, then only the transition is possible. Is clear? The energy involved are much higher and the order of kilo electron voltage. And then we want to say they have a problem with the recoil effect. Then we want to study what is the meaning of recoil effect. So that one also is a very difficult. So this instrument is a very high subastic instrument. So you want to handle with care. Right? It's clear? Anyone else? Any doubts or anything else? Any doubts or anything else? Right.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then recoilless emission. Because we want to say the difficult is the recoil energy. So here we want to use the term as a recoilless emission and absorption. That means they don't want to lose any energy. Exactly whatever energy they want to emit, the first diagram clearly say Fe5726, that is the excited state. Fe5726 ground state they are using. Nearly similar energy level for the excited and ground state, then only the gamma ray want to pass and then ground state want to go to the excited energy level. That means when they are traveling the gamma energy from this region, okay, they didn't lose any other when they are traveling from here to here, they didn't lose any energy. If they lost the energy, then what will happen? Their energy level just only up to this level. Am I right? If they have this much of energy, the green line, then there is no excited state. Then the electron cannot be moved to the particular place. That's why we want to say energy are emitted by a quantum. For an example, N1 to N2 transition possible. N1 to there's no transition in say N1.5. N is a principal quantum number. If it is 1, they want to go for the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. They cannot go for the 1.5, 2.5 like that one. That's why we want to say there's a full integer number. Okay, the gaseous system consisting of, that's a bigger caption they want to mention. Then they want to say the sample and source. The source of gamma rays and the sample which can be absorbed the gamma rays when gamma radiation emitted in a transition from EI to EF is reabsorbed by another nucleus. That one we call as a sample. So the first one we call as a source. This one we call as a source, and this one we call as a sample. Okay, the energy of emitted gamma rays. So this gamma rays, the energy of this gamma rays is around 10 to 100 kilo electron voltage, and is given by the equation E gamma is equal to E naught plus capital D minus ER. Then we want to define the term where E naught is the energy difference between the excited and ground state. So that means this is a energy difference. This one we call as a E naught, right? Then capital D is the Doppler shift. That's a new term again, Doppler shift. And ER is the kinetic energy of the recoil nucleus. So here we want to talk about the kinetic energy again. So the kinetic energy is around it. The value is a little bit lower as a 0.1 to 0.001 electron voltage. So imagine your emitted gamma ray is a 10 to 100 kilo electron voltage, but ER is a small value. So maybe we can ignore it when we do the calculation sometime. Right? Then recoilless emission, again, we want to calculate the recoil energy. So recoil energy, they want to give it to you the equation as a P squared divided by 2M. This one we already know that because we know the equation as a P is equal to M into V. Am I right? So we know that P is equal to M into V. Okay. At the same time, we know that kinetic energy is equal to half mv squared. So I want to say simply as a P squared divided by 2m. Because recoil energy is almost equal to the kinetic energy. We already mentioned that one. Right? So P is the recoil momentum and m is the mass of the nucleus. So then we want to say the law of conservation of momentum. That one is given by P is equal to E gamma divided by C. The E gamma, we already know that is the energy difference, energy for the gamma ray, and C is the velocity of light. Then we want to find out ER is equal to P squared divided by 2m. Then I want to substitute that P become as a E gamma. So E gamma squared divided by 2mc squared. Then I know the E gamma is a E naught plus D minus ER. So E naught plus D minus ER whole thing squared divided by 2mc squared. Then I want to assume the ER is small and also capital D is small. Then I want to say E naught is very much greater than the D minus ER. So I want to say E naught plus D minus ER become as a E naught. So I want to say that is as almost similar to the E naught squared divided by 2mc squared. Right? Then the sample and source nuclei are the same. We already mentioned they have using for the different isotope, but almost same. Then only they want to emit the particular gamma ray, and also the same time the sample also absorb the same gamma ray. After the absorption of gamma ray by the same nucleus, now we are talking about the sample, the atom will have a momentum and energy. Am I right? When they want to absorb the gamma ray, then they have some energy because they already absorb. So that means if they have energy, definitely they have a momentum as well. the energy of the gamma ray absorbed for the transition in the sample. Earlier we want to study the source. Now we are talking about the sample. So sample, we want to write it down other way around. E gamma prime is equal to E naught plus D plus ER. Earlier we want to say E naught plus D minus ER for the source. Now we want the sample, there's a positive value because they want to get the recoil energy as well. Then we want to say what is the difference between the E gamma prime minus E gamma. So E naught plus D will be cancelled. Then ER minus ER become as a 2ER. Then we know that what is the value of ER is almost similar to the E naught squared divided by MC squared. Then we want to substitute that one, then we can get the answer. Up to that one is clear or any doubt? Anyone else? I don't want to call you a name.
Yes, sir.
What? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Damari? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Very good. Right. Then we want to, again, still we want to study the recoil energy. Now this is a simple diagram. They want to mention everything. Right. Look at that region. This is an emission line. Okay. We want to say this is a red line. This is the red line. We want to say that's exactly the middle of the line. Then we want to move the ion or whatever is it. We know the energy. We already know that the energy want to release based on the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law. From level 2G onwards, we know that one. Or normal distribution curve. Some of the energy has a lower energy level. Some of them has a higher energy. So we want to draw like that. Okay. Then we want to say that red line denote as a E naught minus ER. That ER is the recoil energy because the source we want to say E naught minus ER. And sample we want to say E naught plus ER. Am I right? Then we want to denote some line as a delta E where they want to intersect the two of the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law. They want to intersect at the E naught value. Okay. Look at the diagram. Right. Now you imagine this is your one graph for the emission, right? Then other graph maybe start from here. This one I want to say absorption. Now this one I want to say E naught minus ER. Then this point I want to denote as a E naught. And again this one is a E naught plus ER. There's no intercept between this line. Am I right? That's the first case. Second case, in your diagram already mentioned, this is a crossing area. Am I right? This is a crossing area. They want to cross in particular level. Then they want to say the gap as a delta E. Right? In the third case, I want to say now they want to increase the, this is a gap, delta E. Am I right? Then the last case, I want to say exactly matched. That means there is no ER value. Am I right? In this case, there is no ER value because ER, I want to denote from here to there, I want to denote as a ER. Am I right? Now in this case, there is no ER value. That means ER is almost or equal to 0. Okay. So the first case, I want to say delta E is greater than 2ER. That means no overlap. That's the first diagram. They want to say delta E. That means your band gap. Okay, now this is a band gap. When they want to cross, that is a 0 level they want to cross. That one I call as a delta E. If the delta E is, this is a ER, am I right? It's clear, guys? This one is a, I want to denote as a ER. Then I want to say this delta E, this delta E is greater than the 2ER. That means up to this level, right? Or maybe you imagine if it is symmetry, this is a 2ER. Then they never ever cross. If you draw this Maxwell-Boltzmann curve, the ER value is the 2ER much greater than the delta E, then never ever it will be crossed. If it is not crossed, that means they want to say there is no overlap. That means there is no transition will happen. That means this energy level cannot be transferred from, that means gamma ray cannot be absorbed by the sample. Then we want to say delta E is very much greater than the 2ER. Then we want to say overlap is possible, right? Now delta E is greater rather than the 2ER. Then we want to say the overlap is possible. So observe resonant absorption, there is only very small probability, that is gamma ray energy from the source will match. That's the case 2. Okay, only for the small level they want to match. Right, only small level they want probability of the gamma energy from the source will be much, that require for the absorption by sample. So a very low amount of energy want to absorb. So the very low probability of the gamma energy from the source will be absorbed to give a nuclear transfer in the sample. So that means in this case we want to say the peak will be very big signal, because they only absorb the very low probability of the gamma rays. Now we want to go for the ER is equal to 0. That means our case number exact perfectly match. Am I right? According to this diagram, the ER should be a 0. So they want to say the maximum absorption occurs. It can be achieved when the emitting and absorbing nuclei are bound in crystal lattice. So is it very hard to get the ER is equal, nearly equal to 0? So what they are doing, they want to mount the absorbing nuclei. That means your sample, not for source. So they want to mount in the crystal lattice, or maybe they want to use the heavy metal or place in a suitable unstable nucleus. For an example, this is your atom. Okay. Now what I want to do, your atom want to mount with the matrix, or maybe the crystal lattice, or any other heavy metal. Now your mass will be increased, because go back to your previous equation, you know that the ER is equal to E0 divided by MC squared. Am I right? ER is equal to E0 divided by MC squared. So when you increase the mass, then what will happen? Your ER value become as a lower one, because the velocity of light, we can't change anything else. So in our hand only we have a M, that means the mass. So that's why they want to say, if you want to get, it can be achieved when the emitting and absorbing nuclei are bound in a crystal lattice, or mount the absorbing nuclei inside the heavy metal, or place suitable unstable nuclei in a matrix manner. Okay. In the case of bound in crystal lattice, whole recoil energy is absorbed by the crystal lattice. So the lattice is going to absorb, so doesn't matter. In other case, the mass of absorbing nuclei increase with the give the recoilless transition. So it helps to increase the probability of recoilless transition. That means ER is almost 0. If it is almost 0, then we call as a recoilless transition. So the Moissbar spectrum, they need the recoilless transition. If they have a recoilless transition only, you want to get the clear Moissbar spectrum. Is anything else or any doubt? Danishika, any doubt?
No, sir.
Everything clear? Gobini,
No, sir.
Midula,
No, sir.
that is our friend Kamal is absent again. Oh, 19, 18. Where is Kamal? Okay, right. Then we want to go for the recoilless emission and absorption. After now, we want to study the recoilless transition. How is it work? Then we want to go for the recoilless emission and the absorption. Okay, the amount of overlap. We already know that how much amount of overlap they want to come. Here we want to say 50%. Here we want to say 100% of overlap. The amount of overlap of the energy profiles for the source and absorber decides the strength of resonant absorbent. We already noticed that one. If you, this case, the case 1, there's a 0 merging part. That means they have a high recoil energy. So there's no absorbance. All the energy can be lost when they are traveling to the another level. So if there's no overlap, there's no transition. But here is a few amount of transition are possible. So your strength is little bit weak. But here is 100%, we want to say recoilless transition. So all the energy want to transfer from source to sample. So we want to say it will be give the higher strength. That means they decide the strength of resonant absorbance. The movement of the source and absorber relative to the each other velocity. Right? How can we achieve this one? Because earlier we want to say this is a source, this is a sample. Am I right? Source and sample are very far away. That means the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law cannot be much. Now what we are doing, we want to move the source towards the sample or move the sample towards the source. Right? Or we are moving both. In that case only we can go for the next level and also next level. Then when we are come very closer, then we want to get the final stage as a recoilless transition. So they want to say a movement of the source and absorber. Absorber means sample, okay? Source and sample or source and absorber relative to each other velocity. Are you agree? When you are traveling in the train, you feel like the Doppler effect. Am I right? Did you know that one in your A-level physics? Is everyone remember your A-level physics? Doppler effect. When you are traveling in the journey by train, when you pass the ball or throw the ball to up, then ball won't come back to your hand. But still the rain is moving. How is it possible? And the same thing you want to say when you are standing near the platform, then you feel it the wind. When the rain is passed through yourself, you feel like that. The movement, that one we call as a Doppler velocity and Doppler shift, Doppler effect, those kind of things. So here also we want to study about that one because we are moving the sample and source. So that one, very good. You already studied the kinetics, am I right? So you know that one. right? In the Doppler velocity, so we want to say the relative velocity Vt, that is a Vr, and Doppler shift we call as a capital D. Did you remember in our equation, previous equation, we are using the D. You say E gamma dash or prime is equal to E naught plus capital D plus ER. So now we are talking about that Doppler shift. So the Doppler shift is given by the equation that is in the frequency. Delta nu or delta V is equal to VR divided by C into nu. So C is the velocity of the light. Nu is the frequency of the absorbed gamma ray. What is the frequency of the absorbed gamma ray? They want to give it to you in the exam paper, or sometimes they want to give it to you the energy. Then you know that E is equal to h nu. So Planck constant, you know that one, then you can find out the frequency. If the effective resonant energies for source and absorber exactly match at a particular velocity, when you are moving, both of them you are moving, okay? When you are get the perfectly match one, at that time we want to know as a particular relative velocity. The resonance absorption will be at maximum. Then when you draw the diagram, okay, this is your source, this is your sample movement, right? When you are moving, then you want to draw the energy level diagram. What will happen? There's no relative velocity, maybe the zero or whatever is it. Sometimes you want to get the very huge peak, then you want to get the lower one. Okay, in the middle, you are at the 100% of overlap. That means your absorbance is very high. Rest of the time, your absorption becomes as a very lower. This is a graph we want to expect. So absorption, the resonance absorption at maximum, when you get the VR, the relative velocity, a particular relative velocity, you can get the maximum absorption. Record the transition of gamma rays from source through an absorber as a function of the droplet velocity between the source and absorber, right? Then we want to get this kind of graph when we are moving that, record the transition of gamma rays. Earlier there's a few transition, then when we go for the high transition and then again go for the lower transition. Mayurika, can you turn off your microphone? Mayurika,
Sir,
please turn off your microphone. Your dog is barking. Right. So the resonance, at the room temperature, we can measure in the two different category. One is at room temperature or otherwise at liquid helium temperature. Okay. So in the case, sometimes they want to say resonance at room temperature, sometimes they want to say resonance at liquid helium temperature. By cooling to low temperature, the thermal motion of the lattice atoms will be reduced. We already know that if we go for the low temperature, the thermal activities will be reduced. So the resulting Doppler shift is reduced to minimum. So your Doppler shift becomes as a minimum value. Okay, the Mossbar spectrum is displayed as a counts second as a function of the relative velocity. Okay, we want to say the relative velocity in the x-axis and counts per second. How many counts or how many gamma rays want to pass through that layer? They want to count that gamma rays and they want to say that. Then they want to give the near to the zero relative velocity or whatever is it, they want to get the higher counts per second or lower counts per second or whatever other way around, right? Then we want to say there's a plus and minus, plus relative velocity, minus relative velocity. What will happen is a kind of symmetric peak, right? Up to that one is clear or any doubt? Midula,
Sir?
Any doubts or anything else so far?
No, sir.
Hmm?
No, sir.
No, nothing. Very good. And Hasna?
No, sir.
Good. Right. Now we want to go for small exercise. Otherwise, all the time I want to teach you, you are passive learners. Okay. Now the question time. Please write down the question in your rough notebook. Take your rough notebook. Is it possible? Rajita?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please take your rough notebook and write down the question. Calculate the recoil velocity calculate the recoil velocity and energy calculate the recoil velocity and energy of the free Mossbar nucleus Okay, that nucleus name is a SN. SN SN within bracket the molecular weight is a 119. Within bracket the molecular weight is a 119 gram per mole. Okay. When emitting a gamma ray of a frequency 5.76 into 10 to the power of 18 hertz into 10 to the power of 18 hertz. So the next question, the same question, what is the Doppler shift? What is the Doppler shift of the gamma ray frequency? What is the Doppler shift of the gamma ray frequency to an outside observer? To an outside observer. You are the outside observer, so they want to say what is the gamma ray frequency for the outside observer. Right, I will give you a, so right, they want to give it to you just only for the nucleus, that is SN119. So we know the mass, right? We know the velocity of light, that is a 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters second minus 1. Am I right? So, and then they want to say the frequency is the 5.76 into 10 to the power of 18 hertz. So we can find the energy. From that one, we can find out the recoil velocity. If they say the recoil velocity, then we can find out what is the recoil energy. That's a question they want to ask. Then final part, they want to say, you want to find out the Doppler shift. Right, I will give you a 5 to 10 minutes. If you finish it, you can tell me the answer. Okay, guys. Welcome back to the class again. Right. Now we know the frequency of the gamma ray. So we know the energy of gamma ray. Are you agree? E gamma is equal to h into nu. So we know the h is the Planck constant, 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second into 5.76 into 10 to the power of 18 second minus 1 will give the, will give the energy of gamma ray. Then look at this equation, they already mentioned. This one, you know that P is equal to E gamma divided by C. That P is the law of conservation of momentum. Right? We know the momentum. So we want to go for the momentum. Right? When we apply this equation, we can get the momentum. We already find out the E gamma. That means H into nu. Then we know the P. P is equal to M into V. Am I right? P is equal to M into V. That V is the recoil velocity. So M into V is equal to gamma E gamma divided by C. So I want to simply say capital V, that means recoil velocity is equal to E gamma divided by MC. Right? Then we know the E gamma H nu divided by MC. Then we want to substitute what is the H, what is the nu, what is the C, what is the M. All the values, they already give it to us. So we can get the velocity. That means recoil velocity of the nucleus. That is V, capital V into R, VR. Then we want to go for the recoil energy. Then recoil energy, we already studied. ER is equal to half mv squared. Am I right? Then only we want to say mv like that kind of p squared divided by 2m. Or you can apply this equation p squared divided by 2m. So you know the p or you know the v. So when you know the v, you want to say half m v squared, then you can get the ER value. Midila, that's okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, up to that one is okay. Then we want to go for the Doppler shift. That's the last part.
Sir,
Right? Yeah, tell me, madam.
in some cases they are calling VR as a relative velocity or something, but
The recoil velocity.
VR is recoil velocity.
That's a VR is the relative velocity. Sorry, that's right. We are talking about the. Okay, that is your problem. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Here we are talking about the recoil velocity. That is a VR. And here we are talking about the relative velocity also VR. Look at the diagram. We already mentioned this source want to move towards that side. Am I right? And this one also move to that side. Then we want to say this velocity we call as a VR. That one is the relative velocity we denote. This relative velocity is exactly same as the recoil velocity when they come to this condition. Okay? This is our condition, 100% they want to absorb. Then only we can get everything. If they are not coming like this, if they starting the ER is too much greater than the delta E, then we want to say there is no chance to become as the relative velocity is exactly same as the recoil velocity. Now it's clear, Midula?
Okay, sir.
Right. Sorry, that is you are confused. Okay, then we want to go for the Doppler shift frequency. Delta nu is equal to VR. We already know the VR. And we know the C. And we know the V. Am I right? Then we want to substitute all the value. That nu is the frequency of absorbed gamma ray. That one they already give it to you as a 5.76 into 10 to the power 18. Now you find out the VR. So you want to substitute there, you can get the final answer. Is it okay? Is everyone agree? Gobini?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, good. Right. Now, another question. Okay, maybe I want to give it to you later. I want to finish the section and then I want to move towards 2 more slides. Right. This one is a condition of Mossbar spectroscopy. We already studied the Mossbar spectroscopy. Now they want to say, if they want to behave a Mossbar spectrum or they want to show the Mossbar spectrum, they want to obey some condition as like a selection rule for earlier one. So these are the conditions they must be satisfied. But we don't want to ask you in the question paper, what is the condition or those kind of things. But if you are handling that instrument, you have to know about that. So the energy of nuclear transition must be large enough to give useful gamma ray photon. So the nuclear transition, the first step, that means the source, is a bit large enough to give a useful gamma ray photon, but not large enough to cause recoil effect. If they have a recoil effect, then we can't get the clear Mossbar spectrum. So we are think about those two things. They want to produce the gamma photon. At the same time, we want to reduce the recoil effect. The energy of the gamma ray photon must be in the range of 10 to 100 kilo electron voltage. We already studied that one. A substantial amount of the nuclear decay must be with the gamma ray emissions. Because when the gamma ray transfer one place to this place to another place, okay, here to there, then definitely they want to decay some energy. But that decay is not that much big. If they have a very far away from the sample and source, for an example, the sample is here and source is here and sample is here. When the energy is transferred, they want to lose amount, half of the amount. Then it cannot be much in the exactly same region. We already draw that diagram. They want to exactly much, then only we can get the spectrum, right? That's why they want to say the substantial amount of nuclear decay must be in the gamma ray emission, but we don't worry about that one because that one is a very small amount. The lifetime is a 0.01 nanosecond to 100 nanosecond of the excited state. Must be long enough to give a reasonably broad emission range. So the lifetime of the excited state, because we want to say that the source, they have excited state, then only they want to come to the ground state. So that excited state lifetime is less than 100 nanosecond. Then immediately they want to come. So you don't want to think about, okay, today I want to excite the source molecule. Tomorrow I want to do the sample. It's not possible. Immediately you want to do. You know the scale, the nanosecond. Maybe Midula and Gobini working in the nano scale and nanomolecule, nanoparticle in the exhibition. They make clever rather than us. Maybe you can ask to them for the nanosecond, nanoframe, those kind of things. Am I right, Midula?
Not like that, sir.
But you were there.
Yeah, but I'm not an expert in that section.
Oh, okay. That's what. Kidding, don't worry. Long enough to give a reasonably broad emission range. The excited state of the emitter should be having a long life precursor and easy to handle. So excited state of the emitter. Then this one is we call as an emitter for excited state. It's a long life precursor. That means it's not a short life period. It want to go and stay there at least 100 nanosecond. Then only they want to come. During that one, they want to lose the energy. That one is easy to handle because sometimes they have a two different energy level. For an example, this is a ground state. Did you see that one? Right. This is a ground state. Okay. This one is the excited state. First excited state. Then second excited state also closer to each other. As like your vibration number 100 and 101 is very close to each other. Then it's very difficult to handle with us because we think about they want to go for the first one. Sometimes they want to travel to the second one. So we don't know which one is exactly match with our gamma ray. So that's why they want to say it's easy to handle. When we select the molecule as a source, we want to think about where's the excited state, where's the ground state, what is the energy level for that one. Then only we want to choose. We cannot be choose as a easy. So we want to think about the background. The ground state of the isotope should be stable and other things, because we want to say both should be the similar molecule. Am I right? If it is Fe, again Fe, but they are using the different isotope as a source and sample. So that isotope should be a stable. If the isotope may be the unstable, then what will happen? Sometimes we don't assume as a Fe57, then within a second they want to change as a Fe56. Then your whole idea going to be collapsed. So that's why they want to say ground state of the isotope should be stable. Its the natural abundance should be high, and also the abundance. For an example, we know that chlorine 35 and 37, 75 and 35, 25%. We know the abundance of the isotope. Then we want to choose that one. If they have a very less abundance, for an example, 1% or 2%, when we choose that one, our gamma ray strength is very low, because they are only for the 1% have this particular isotope. Then they only give a 1% of gamma ray. When you choose 100 gram, then they will give only for the 1% of gamma ray. So your signal become as a very weak, then you can't predict any spectrum. So that's why they want to say its natural abundance should be high, or at least the enrichment of that isotope should be easy. The cross-section for absorption should be high. Okay, then cross-section level also, this should be, you know, the cross-section area. Am I right? When we study the collision theory, we study that cross-section area. So this cross-section area of the absorption should be high. Then they want to say the energy of gamma rays from the source can be varied over the range of energy difference. That's why we are plot the graph, the range of energy difference from here to 0 to go high and then come down. The energy difference arising from the electron environment by moving the source relative to the absorber. Absorber means sample. Now we want to say sample is a fixed. We want to move the source towards the sample or away from the sample. The higher relative velocity observed when the source is moved towards the absorber. When you are moved, this is your, right? This one we call as a source. This one we call as an absorber. Okay. This is the absorber is a fixed. When you are moving towards the source, then what will happen? It come like this, come like this, come like this, then they want to cross. Am I right? When they are crossing, you want to get the clear spectrum. So the higher relative velocity, or maybe you are saying VR, relative velocity or recoil velocity, observed when the source is moved towards the absorber. The higher average in Danushi, okay, good. The higher average energy of gamma rays absorbed by the absorber. That's why they want to say when they overlap perfectly, then we want to measure. They obtain the Mossbar spectrum, the source moves relative to the absorber until the source velocity at which maximum absorption of gamma rays occurs. So we want to move towards the source, towards the absorber. When we get the 100% or high gamma ray occurs, then we want to stop. Or maybe we want to try, this is your absorber, this is your source. You are moving towards the absorber, then you are go far away. So you want to draw, for an example, this is 10 meter far away, not 10 micrometer, minus 10 micrometer to plus 10 micrometer you want to move. Then you can get the clear spectrum like this. Okay. Three main types of interaction of the nuclei with the chemical environment that result in a small changes in the energy required for the absorption. So in the next lectures, we want to study about 3 main types of interaction. Now we know the principle, how is it work? Then we want to think about how it can be altered. Because this is the principle we want to say when we are moving source towards the absorber, they want to give the Mossbar spectrum. Okay, principle is clear. We know the calculation, how to get the relative velocity, energy, those kind of things. Right. But we want to know about how can we alter the spectrum, alter the Mossbar spectrum. Then only we want to replace the atom and find the chemical structure, chemical environment, how many electrons are there, those kind of information. So 3 main types of interaction of the nuclei with the chemical environment that result in a small changes. Sorry. Okay, the 3 main types of interaction, the nuclei with the chemical environment that result in a small changes in the energy required for the absorption. First one we call as a isomeric shift or isomer shift, and quadrupole interaction. Then last one we want to call as a magnetic interaction. So these 3 terms we want to study how to alter, provide the information of the chemical significance. So we want to study the chemical significance. We don't want to study the Mossbar spectrum pure. We want to alter and we want to get the structure of the chemical or compound or transition metal complex. Right? So next lectures, we want to study about the isomer chemical shift, those kind of information we want to study the next lectures. Now the question time again. Right, please write down the question. That is your homework. Are you ready? Dinushi? Are you ready?
Sir?
Yeah, are you ready to write
Yes.
down the question?
Yes, sir.
Right, calculate the recoil velocity of the Fe nucleus within bracket 57 gram per mole of the Fe nucleus which makes the transition from the excited state of energy (14.4 kilo electron voltage) to the ground state find out the Doppler shift of the produced gamma ray. Find out the Doppler shift of the produced gamma ray. Okay. Here they want to say, first one, you want to calculate the recoil velocity of the Fe nucleus. And then they want to give the energy as a 14.4 kilo electron voltage. So you know the energy. Then you know the recoil velocity equation is the E naught squared divided by 2 mc squared. Then you want to substitute that one, you can get the recoil velocity. If you know the recoil velocity, then you want to find out the frequency, because you know the energy, you know the Planck constant, then you can find out the frequency. Then if you know the frequency, if you know the recoil velocity, then the velocity of light also we already know that. So we want to substitute that one, we can get the Doppler shift. Okay, guys? Right, any doubts or anything else? Otherwise, we want to finish the lectures today. Any doubt? Sorry? Any doubts or anything else? Mayurika?
No, sir.
Midula?
No, sir.
Niluja?
No,
Niluja? Hello? Dinushi?
Sir?
Yeah. Do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Right. Then next one. If you have any doubts, I will stop the lectures today and we will join the next lectures on next week, maybe on Tuesday. I will send the link later, okay? Okay, guys.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you very much.